This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Sophia Yvette.
Welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast. Are you in need of a counselor? Well, one may be closer than you think. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing your good neighbor, Catherine Solomon, with Catherine Solomon Counseling. Catherine, it is so lovely to have you on today. Now, we are so excited to learn about you and your business. Please start off by telling our listeners just a little bit more about your company.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored and excited to be here. So my name is Catherine Solomon. Like you said, I have a private practice where I offer both virtual and in-person sessions for counseling. I live in Frisco, but my office is in Allen, but just on the edge. So I'm really close to all the neighboring cities, which is really convenient. And I work with both individual and couples. I know a lot of people don't want to work with couples because it can be a little bit more stressful. There's two people and different dynamics going on, but it actually brings me so much joy to work with couples and really help people walk through strengthening their relationships and their marriage. And so, that's what I get to do, partner with people in their journeys and help them, provide them with tools and resources, pull out answers that they already have inside of them, walk through hard seasons, good seasons, all the things. So that's kind of a little bit about what I get to do in my counseling practice.
Wow, Catherine, I am so curious. How did you originally get into a business like this? And where does your heart for helping these couples specifically really come from?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So it definitely is tied to just my personal story. When I was in college, I went through some really challenging times and I got really depressed actually. But at the time, I didn't even have a word for that. Didn't really understand what mental health was. I didn't understand really anything. So I didn't even know what to do to get help. And so someone had suggested I go to counseling and I was like, what the heck is that about? I had no idea. And so, I ended up going to counseling just to see what it was about. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Everybody needs to do this. And I found so much help and healing through my own journey doing that. And so I really felt like God was leading me to then go back to school to get my master's in clinical mental health counseling. And I just kind of fell in love with it and realized wow, something that was really hard for me personally ended up, there's a lot of good that has come from it because now I get to do this and be here. And so I also understand, it's not fun to go through hard things personally, but I think that strengthens your empathy and resolve to help other people. And so that's kind of how I ended up doing this. And then it translated to having my own private practice. And so, that's kind of how it all started for me.
Wow. Well, it sounds like faith is a very important thing for you. So, what is the biggest misconception when it comes to having faith and, having a counseling practice that you'd like to address for our listeners?
Yeah. I think that in general, counseling or therapy can have a misconception that you only need to go if you're crazy or you must be your breaking point and you want to kill yourself or other people and it's this huge thing. And obviously if people are at that place, then definitely they need help. But also it's really important just to get help when things are smaller and you just need to process things without it being in crisis mode. And I think too, for me personally, yes, faith is really important. I grew up in a Christian home and just my relationship with God is important. And I think at the time when I was in college, I was so confused because why was I struggling with this? And why was I having these thoughts when I believed in God and how would this happen? And I think it was just a really conflicting thing. And so I really think that it's a misconception that you can love Jesus and have a relationship with him and still struggle. I feel those don't always make sense. And you can go to therapy and still love Jesus. And it doesn't mean that you're not relying on him for helping you in your life or whatever the case is. So, I think if people are struggling with the concept of asking for help or going to counseling, whether it's faith related or not, I always encourage you don't have to be in a terrible place. You're not crazy for getting help. It's just people who hire coaches for their business or whatever it is, like a financial coach, like you're having someone partner with you to work through things that are hard, and they have, clinical experience and personal experience that they get to link arms and walk alongside you to help you heal and strengthen things that you need help with in your life. And so that's just the kind of mindset that I would encourage people that don't really know what counseling's about or have like discomforts about it, or like misconceptions, like you said.
So, Catherine, now that we've gotten to know a little bit more about you and your story, let's dive more into the business side of things. So, let's switch gears to marketing for a second. Now, we do know when it comes to business how important marketing is. So, who are some of your ideal clients? You did say couples, you did say individuals. Care to expand on that thought a little bit more and tell us, how are you attracting them?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, have a really huge heart for couples. And part of that even too is related to my own marriage, because when I first got married, I thought I was a good communicator, and then it turned out it was not the case. And so my husband and I went to counseling and realized like, wow, there's like so many great practical things that you can do to strengthen your relationship. And so for me, if I'm marketing and want people to know like who I'm best skilled to help and work with. It's couples that want to strengthen their communication, want to be able to go underneath not just the topics of why they might be arguing or like what they're arguing about, but just like figure out like the actual patterns that they keep getting stuck in so that they can apply the solution in a healthier pattern to any topic that they're going through. And so I have a lot of resources, both through social media, and my website, paid ones, free ones. And because I know that not everybody wants to go to counseling or, has the time for it, or some people are like, well, I want to work on things, but my spouse doesn't. I have a lot of resources that people can get access to outside of just face to face. Plus, also, like, I have limited time. And so I can't work with everyone, even though that would be great. So I have an online course that is all about communication and conflict resolution. And there's a lot of practical things. Like I really think that it's important to be able to turn around and do something different to see results. And so that is really a part of what that course is about. I talk about attachment styles, teaching emotional regulation, the mental load, like it's really, really in depth. And then I also have kind of like bite-sized resources if someone just needs help in a specific area versus something that's like larger and more in depth. I have some like couples challenges where it's like 30 days and you get a specific prompt sent every day with a lot of really helpful tools woven in, but it feels less overwhelming. It can feel less like education and more just like, oh, I'm showing up and doing these things in my relationship, but you then really see how it pivots how you feel towards your spouse, your mindset, how your spouse is receiving and interacting with you. I have a new one coming out. I'm excited for it starting in April about kind of like spring cleaning, right? Like everyone loves to like declutter their house or like purge things in their home, but I feel like that concept can definitely be applied to relationships where we need to like get rid of some habits that aren't healthy or just like declutter certain things, just have like a relationship refresh. I have a new one coming out. So I have lots of resources for couples in all various stages. And then, yes, I do love working with individuals, whether it's relationship related or not. I love working with teens, and then I have a lot of adults. And so it's great to be able to partner with, parents to help with their teens. And then, high schoolers, college age students, and the transitions of life. I think that's really a fun thing to be able to talk through and see people grow and just enter adulthood. And so that's kind of a little bit more about the business side, the things that I have to offer, the people that I love to work with. And if anyone's listening and feels like that's related to them, then I might be your girl.
Well, Catherine, I mean, you seriously have so much great information to share with the audience. I have to ask you, all these different courses and things that you have you ever thought about having your own podcast?
I have thought about it. I've never really taken a step towards doing that, but I think that it could be really fun. I think it's a great opportunity to be able to share other resources with people in a more long form content. I feel like a lot of things can be kind of just short and you need more in-depth things. I've even joked with my husband because he's a coach for financial things. And so I'm like, we should do something together. But I'm not new, I guess, anymore, but I have an 18-month-old son. And so I've also kind of just been balancing work life, but then also just like our family and really prioritizing that. And so maybe one day, but I think this season of life may be a little bit tricky, but it could be super fun one day.
Well, Catherine, keep shooting for the stars. I'm sure you're going to get there. Now, let's go ahead and before we wrap things up today, go ahead and tell our listeners the number one takeaway from your business, specifically Catherine Solomon Counseling, you would like them to walk away with one piece of knowledge that you think is most important for them to know.
That's a really good thing to consider. I guess if I was going to talk with couples and I was going to pretend that like this is my podcast for 5 seconds and share something with someone listening, I would really say that it sounds simple and maybe cliche, but this one thing has really shifted for myself and a lot of couples that I work with. If you can, I guess it's really two things. If you can keep the mindset that one, you're on the same team and you can really practice giving the other person the benefit of the doubt, it will really shift how you approach things. It will shift how you respond to things. It will shift how you receive a message, whether it's a verbal message or just like something that's happened in your day-to-day dynamic. You will be able to see it a little bit more positively. And I think, we talk about marriage being a partnership, but I think, when emotions are high or you're tired or cranky or you didn't sleep well, it can be really easy for that to go out the window and you can feel like you're at odds against each other. But really, it's like you and your person against the world, against the problem, like link arms, be on the same team. And if something feels like it's tearing you apart and you're not able to be on the same team, make that your goal and center. How do we get back to being on the same team? How do we circle back to, I want to give you the benefit of the doubt. I want to see that you have good intentions, even though we're not perfect and like that's normal. But that was like a huge thing that shifted a lot of interactions with my husband and I, and has been really pivotal for other couples that I worked with. So I would say if I'm talking to a couple, that's definitely something that I would want them to take away and really practically get started with in their day-to-day life.
Wonderful. And where can our listeners go to learn more about Catherine Solomon Counseling, if there is a good website or phone number for them to contact?
Yeah, absolutely. So all across social media, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, my handle is at catherine.n.solomon. And then I have a website, which is my name, super, super simple, catherinensolomon.com. So I am accessible any of those places. You can reach me by email through the website, and I would love to get to talk with you if you're interested in counseling or have a question that I could help guide you for a different resource, whatever the case is. But that's where you can find me.
Well, Catherine, I really appreciate you being on the show today. We wish you and your business the best moving forward.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored that I got to be here with you today.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpfrisco.com. That's gnpfrisco.com. Or call 469-221-9345.